So, let's start the session for the day. Basically, the main aim for this session is that when the corporate tax law was announced, it was very ambiguous about the free zone taxation. But in last few months, we have been able to be the availability of the clarifications as well as the cabinet decisions have given us enough information where the companies can make a choice that whether they want to avail the 0% tax regime which is available for the for the entities inside the zones, or they want to opt out of it. So our focus for here is that on what conditions companies can avail the 0% taxation and how we need to comply with that. So moving on, very first thing which we need to understand here is that anybody who will be incorporated in free zone would not automatically be qualified for this free zone tax regime. So first thing first, we need to understand that who can be a free zone person, as I would say it as FZP. Now, when we talk about the persons, we have two types as per the tax law. We have natural person and we have juridical person here. So, for example, freelancers, sole establishments, civil companies, all these would be considered as natural person here, and these cannot be considered as free zone person, which means that if any company is operating in the capacity of sole establishment, civil companies, free zone tax regime would not be applicable on them. Next, we have entities which are legally incorporated, which means most likely it would be limited liability entities. These can be considered as free zone persons. Okay, so first thing first, we have a filter that who can be an FZP, and here we know that mostly the LLC companies would be considered as the FZPs. Moving on, these FZPs can further be subdivided in two categories. We have the qualifying free zone person, and we have non-qualifying free zone person. And just to answer you that even LLC with single owner, yes, it would be considered as a free zone entity. So when somebody is classified as an FZP, next thing we need to understand that who can be a qualifying free zone person and who cannot be. All the free zone clauses or the special concessions are only applicable if we are in the capacity of a qualifying free zone person, QFZP. So throughout this session, all the 0% tax applicability would only be on the companies who can fulfill the conditions of being a QFZP, a qualifying free zone person. Now the question is that who can be? So once somebody would be classified as a qualifying free zone person, there are certain concessions on all of the qualifying income which a person who is a qualifying free zone person, that he will earn the qualifying income, he won't pay any tax. And all other income which would not be a qualifying income, he would pay tax at the standard rate, which means we have to understand, or we have to see that what would be a qualifying in let's say who can be a qualifying free zone person and what can be the qualifying income. These two things, if we are able to answer, we would be able to solve this entire puzzle that who can take this sort of a concession. Now, a qualifying free zone person can be somebody who meets all of the following conditions. This is very important. The conditions which I'll be explaining you, all of these conditions have to be fulfilled. The first condition is that I need to maintain adequate substance. Now, for those of you who are being exposed to economic substance, say regulations, you know that we have to have certain kind of presence in the country to prove or to justify the sales or the income which we are generating out of UAE. So in the same fashion, if we have to maintain adequate substance in a free zone, there are 4 conditions. First one is that the core income generating activity, which is my hardcore business activity, must be conducted from a free zone itself. Now here it is important, I'm not saying designated zone here, it's all about free zones. I should have adequate assets to conduct such activities. Example, I am an industrial company, so I must have some kind of a plant, machinery, a small factory to justify my activity here. Second, the third one, I should have adequate number of the qualified employees, which means that if I am saying that I am processing something, so I must have certain staff who basically hold the skill set for this, and I should incur adequate number of operating expenses to conduct such activities. Which means actually what? Now we earlier had the stuff where we used to just incorporate companies in UAE just for the sake of invoicing, because we don't have any taxes here. Such companies most likely would fail the first condition, and they would not be having any adequate substance here. So I must be able to justify my level of activity. Now the question is that how FTA would be acknowledging this, that whether I have to invest something here, how many employees I should have. No, FTA will not do any such thing. You need to make a justification that yes, if I'm saying that I am having a factory in UAE, inside any free zone, and I am generating X amount of sales, I should be able to justify that amount of sale with all of these conditions, which are, which I need to justify my economic substance. Next is I must be generating the qualifying income. Now the qualifying income, there is a separate calculation of this, which I'll be explaining you in due course, but just for the sake of it, we have a condition that I, as a free zone entity, after meeting the first condition, I must be generating or earning the qualifying income here. Now, in this scenario, third condition is very interesting, that I must not be opting for standard rate of taxation. Now, you guys may be wondering that why would somebody say that, please, I don't want to take the benefit of zero taxation. Yes, there are certain conditions. Let's say an example is that if you want to form a tax group with the entities, then you cannot form a tax group if any entity is if it is a qualifying free zone entity. So there could be certain conditions, and at the end I will explain you all those considerations which you keep in mind if you wish to opt for being a qualifying free zone person. Next is arm's length transaction, which means transactions between different the group companies or between the connected entities must be at the arm's length, and transfer pricing rules, where applicable, must be applied and say complied with. So it's it's pretty simple that if I'm selling something for, let's say, 100 to my ordinary customers, the same price I must be charging to my associated companies, and so on so forth. And the final conditions are, I should be having the audited financials with us, with me as a company. It is a requirement, and non-qualifying revenue must be within a specific threshold. We'll also discuss this in due course. So if I meet all these conditions, I'm all good. I would be able to avail the special tax rate, which is here, that on my qualifying income, I would be paying zero taxes. Now, the scenario is that I have certain things still to be answered. First one is, what can be the qualifying income? Okay, I need to answer that. Second is that, what would be the threshold, the specific limit within which my revenue, which will not be a qualifying revenue, must hold within a threshold. So we will be calculating all this also, and I'll be explaining you that how these two things will be answered. So I have a question, so I'll be able to answer it here. So based on the adequate substance, if a factory is working in China and exporting goods to the rest of the world, while companies invoicing from UAE, all income would be taxable. Exactly, yes. You will not be able to meet the adequate substance here, because your factory is somewhere else. You are exporting from China, and you are only generating the invoices from here. So of course you would not be able to meet these conditions, and of course you will be subject to the standard rate taxation. Now, once I have been through to all these conditions, let's now see and understand that what can be the qualifying income. The whole question is that what can be the qualifying income. For the free zone companies, which would be service company, is this a qualifying income? It could be, it cannot be. I'm just about to explain you all these things, and you will see that depending on the activity, you can be earning the qualifying income or you may not be earning it. So if we have to establish that whether I am generating the qualifying income or not, I have to segregate my activities into three buckets. Okay, and these may not only be the activities which are specified on my trading and say license. These are actual activities which I am conducting. So first activity is called the qualifying activity. It is a list of 13 activities which I'll explain you in due course, and these are specified in the cabinet decision 139. If any of my activity falls in those activities, it would be called as the qualifying activities. Still, I have not fulfilled the condition of generating the qualifying income. I am only classifying the activities. Next category or the bucket is excluded activities. There is a list of 7 activities which are specified as excluded activities, and each of these, whether I am having the qualifying activity or I am having the excluded activity, it will have an impact on me meeting the conditions of a qualifying free zone person. And then I could be having certain other activities which I will not be including within the qualifying or excluded activities, and I'll see that what I will do with all of these activities. So step first is that I need to have a segregation of my business activities, whether it is a qualifying activity or excluded activity or something else. So let's now see the qualifying activities. As I said, it is a list of 13 activities which include manufacturing, processing, holding of shares, ownership or operation of ships, reinsurance services. It's not insurance, it is reinsurance services, fund management, wealth management, headquarter services, where I've only established the companies to give only the headquarter services to my associated companies. And if I am just giving the treasury or funding to my sister companies, financing, leasing of aircrafts. Next is distribution of goods or material in or from a designated zone. It's very important. Now, it is the only area, or it is the only section where in corporate tax we use the word designated zone. It is same as we have in VAT law. So if I am doing trading business only, and if I'm doing it from designated zone, then still it would be a qualifying activity. Next is logistic services, and then any activity which is ancillary to all the above activities. So if my activity is among any of these activities, it would be considered as the qualifying activity. Okay, so I am just parking the activities in specific categories. Next is excluded activities. Now, these excluded activities are again a list of 7 activities where any transaction with any natural person, which will include your freelancers, sole establishment, individuals, civil companies, except for ship management, fund management, wealth management, and financing or leasing of aircraft, because all of these are already included here. And warehousing will be included in qualifying activities under logistic services. Apparently, yes, if you are only giving them the warehousing services, it could be a part of this sort of activity. Now see, these activities which are being specified, you need to make a justification, and you as the business owner or the CFOs of the company would be in a better idea that whether we can do a justification, substantiation, that whether our activities fall in in this category or it is excluded. Next excluded activities, all the banks which are operating from the zone, it is also excluded activity. Insurance activities, financing and leasing, except for financing to sister companies and financing of aircraft, because again, these two are included here. Then ownership or exploitation of immovable property, which include my trademarks, except for, these are the properties, which mean it could be the warehouse, it could be the offices, or it could be any sort of, say, real estate, except for the commercial property which is located in a free zone and against which my transaction is conducted with the other free zone persons itself. Now we go back to our first definition of free zone persons itself, where we said that it would exclude natural persons. And ownership or exploitation of intellectual properties, and then any activity which are ancillary to the above activities. So these are my excluded activity. Now again, just understand up till here that still we have not been able to finalize whether we are fulfilling the criteria of generating the qualifying income or not. We are just classifying the income, whether it is the qualifying activity, excluded activity, or some other activities. Okay. Now, logistic services, goods from one free zone to mainland will also be under the qualifying activities. If it is, I may not be expert in terms of the activities, but if you feel like that the services of shipping the items from location A to B, it fulfills the criteria, of course, it would be classified under this activity list. Okay, once I have this, next I am close to answer what could be the qualifying income. So here now I am talking about my customers. Okay, where are they? If I am dealing with other free zone persons, I'm trying to establish that what would be included in the qualifying income if my customers are the other free zone persons. Income from all transactions except for excluded activities would be classified as the qualifying income. So it is a big sweeping thing that all the activities except for excluded activities, whether I'm doing consulting, whether I'm doing trading, anything, if I'm dealing with other free zone persons, I am generating the qualifying income. So it means zone to zone, everything would be the qualifying income if I am dealing with the other free zone persons, and my activities are except from the excluded activity, which is the list of all these 7 activities. Next is for transaction with non-free zone. Here it includes mainland companies, and it also includes if I'm exporting something. So here in this category, if my customers are outside the free zone, then income only from the qualifying activities would be considered for my qualifying income. So here comes the impact for the qualifying activities. I'm having some customers outside the zone, and for example, I'm doing the manufacturing or the processing. So yes, it is within the list of the qualifying activities. So I am fulfilling all these conditions. Next is that income from all other transactions, okay, which will not fall here or here, all other transaction. Here in this case, any other income, provided that it satisfies the minimus requirement. It is a threshold which, just to refresh, it was a condition here that non-qualifying revenue should be within a specific limit. So here is the reference that it should be within a limit, and it is called as the minimus requirement, and I'll explain you how this requirement is being calculated. So just a refresher up till here, we are in search of how we can avail 0% free zone taxation, and it is only applicable if we are entities who are legal entities. Sole establishment, freelancers, civil companies would be excluded. Free zone person can be divided into the qualifying free zone, non-qualifying free zone persons. If it is a qualifying free zone person, would pay 0% on the qualifying income. To be a qualifying free zone person, all these 5-7 conditions needs to be fulfilled. To ascertain whether I'm generating the qualifying income or not, I would be dividing the activities between the qualifying activities or excluded activities or the other activities. And here is the complete specification. If my clients are within zone, then I would be able to generate the qualifying income for all my activities except for excluded activities. If my clients are outside the zone, then only for the qualifying activities, and for all other income, it is where I am satisfying the de minimis requirement. I have a few questions. I'll see if these can be answered here. First is from Riz. Is there a definition of what headquarter service exactly is? If we have a subsidiary which is based in UAE and is working on a cost plus markup model, would this qualify? First thing, when you form a company in a free zone, you have the activity also, which is called the headquarter activity. In corporate tax law, you may not be able to find a complete information. I would suggest, if you wish to, you should be referring to economic substance regulations. There, it is a complete activity, headquarter activities, where you can find the guidance out of it. Next, we have from Kader, as a designated free zone establishment is profit from transit trade, say, but from Poland and sell to Holland without importing US is qualifying income. Yes, the good news is that if you are using a third port, business activity, and if you are operating from, say, a designated zone, yes, it would be a qualifying income, and it has been clarified by the ministry on its website also. Bilal has a query that my company is based in mainland, but my entire business is purchasing from free zone and exporting. Will I qualify for 0%? No, you won't, because the main requirement is that you should be incorporated in the zone and conducting your activities from the zone itself. I hope it is clear. Okay, moving on from here. As we are now about to focus on this de minimis kind of a requirement. So there are certain incomes which in any case would be taxed at the standard, say, rate. So if I take you back on this slide where I said that 9% would be taxed on the income which won't be the qualifying income. So I'll explain you what are those income, and we then exclude all such income from the calculations. So first is that if I'm having any branch, either in mainland or outside the country, that branch income would straight away be taxed at 9%. It won't be included in my qualifying income. Next is income which is attributable to immovable property. Now, this is an interesting area because here certain things are only specific to the corporate tax law. So immovable property is being divided in two categories: the commercial property and non-commercial property. So if I'm having a commercial property and if I'm dealing with non-free zone person, it would be taxed straight away at the standard rate. And if I'm dealing with free zone person, it would be considered as the qualifying income. And the important area here is that what can be the commercial property itself. Here, it also includes your hotels, B&Bs, service apartments. So this would be excluded from the commercial property and it would be treated as non-commercial property. And in this case, if I'm generating any income from here, it will be taxed at the standard rate itself. So if I'm having any hotel, that income would straight away be taxed. Okay. Hi, Christine. Yes, you will get at the end of the session we have a feedback form. So all of those will be sharing their feedback. Will also be getting the recordings plus also these slides. Also, I'll be sharing with you guys. Okay. Now, how to calculate the threshold, de minimis rule? We have to take non-qualifying revenue and it should be compared with 5% of my total revenue or 5 million, whichever is lower. So example, if my NQR, non-qualifying revenue, is 100 million and my total, let's make it a meaningful example, non-qualifying is 3 million and 5% of total revenue is 4 million or 5 million, the benchmark, whichever is lower, I'll be comparing with it. And in this case, I would be fulfilling this condition. Now, there are certain exclusions and inclusions. So when I'm calculating my non-qualifying revenue, it would be the revenue I have earned from my excluded activities, a list of 7 activities which I have earlier, and activities which will not be the qualifying activities where other party is non-free zone person. And total sales, of course, it's very obvious that what would be my total sale. Now, we have certain exclusions and the exclusions are pretty simple. All those things which are straight away taxed, in this case, here, and the branch income, these would be excluded from my total revenue and also my NQR, non-qualifying revenue. I'll be excluding it because these in any case would be taxed straight away. Okay. Now, let's see a work example here. For example, I am having a company whose gross sales is 140 million. In that, I have revenue from non-qualifying activities 2.5. Revenue from excluded activities is 1.5 and revenue from the qualifying activities is 116. The balance is revenue from transaction with non-free zone for the commercial property. I would be excluding it because it would be taxed straight away. Revenue from transaction involving non-commercial property, I would be excluding it because it would also be taxed straight away. Revenue from my domestic branch, excluded, and the foreign branch also excluded because all these would straight away be taxed at, just give me a second. All these would straight away be taxed at the standard rate itself. Now, okay, if we are about to calculate it, the calculation is that 5% of, I have to do this calculation, just give me a second. Okay. So I would now be calculating 5% of my total revenue. In this case, total revenue is 120 million, because I have to exclude all that which is straight away being X. So I will calculate 5% of 120, which would be 6 million. I have to compare 6 or 5, whichever is lower. So my threshold in this scenario would be 5 million itself. And my non-qualifying revenue is 4 million. So it is within my threshold. So it means I am meeting my de minimis requirement. So that's how I am, calculating my de minimis kind of a requirement. Okay. I have few questions here. Let me see. Mr. Bhatt is asking, our company is a branch in Jebel Ali Free Zone of Oman parent company and providing services to parent company, only charging expenses reimbursement to parent. Is this recharge will be taxable in the hand of the branch? So you are basically doing kind of a service to the parent company, and you are doing just a recharge. So as you have not specified the services, I'm assuming it would be kind of certain expenses which you are incurring, or probably some salaries and all such activities. So we'll see here our activities. So our client is where? Client is, okay, no, our client is outside the zone. Okay, when a client is outside the zone, income only from the qualifying activities would be considered for the qualifying income. So if your activities are within the list of these qualifying activities, yes, you can. But if not, unfortunately, you would not. So okay, you explain that it is the accounting services. No, in that case, the accounting services would not be in the list of these qualifying activities, and your client is outside the zone. So you would be taxed on all such activities. I hope it is clear. Next, my question up till here is that how will the income from services be treated? Services which will be provided from designated zones. How will the income from services be treated? Services which will be provided from designated zone. You need to specify what kind of services. So if you are, if your client are outside the zone, it should only be within the qualifying activities. If your client is within the zone, it could be income from all activities except for excluded activities. I hope this one is also clear. Again, I have a query here that will a UAE branch of a foreign entity providing cost plus services in the UAE be deemed to supply qualifying activity? Again, it all depends on the activities. As I said, that first thing you need to understand, where is your client? Whether if you are dealing within the zone, income from all activities would be the qualifying activities except the excluded one. If your client is outside the zone, only income from the qualifying activities, which is in this category only. Then, of course, it would be the qualifying activity. It would be the qualifying income. Mr. Bhatt, back of services. Okay, we've answered. Riz is saying it is an headquarter services. I believe you're saying about the accounting services. No, it's not, probably the headquarter services, because it is mostly, just, a back office kind of activity. I'm just having the cost center here. Normally the headquarter is that where I also make, the main decisions about the company. Okay. Then Rez is again asking, will a UAE branch of a foreign entity providing cost plus services in the UAE will be deemed to supply qualifying activity? This is the headquarter services. Again, the question would be, where is the client? Okay. If you feel like that you are giving the headquarter services, which you need to make a justification, then this headquarter services are within the list of the qualifying activities. And for qualifying activities, whether I am dealing within zone or outside zone, it would be the qualifying activities. Mr. Patel has a question which says that if income from non-qualified activity within de minimis income, then it will be taxable for corporate tax as per 0%. Yes, indeed, it would be. And I'm just about to explain with an example. But your understanding is correct. I have a chat. Management sitting in UAE. Probably... if you can give me the whole question again, I would be able to answer this again for you. You are welcome, Mr. Patel. Okay. Now we'll see a full-fledged example here, okay, where almost everything would be covered. And then after that, I will definitely answer the other queries. Okay. So the scenario here is that I'm having a company called Q-Line, and my total sale value is 450 million. My profit is 90 million. Okay. Now, it would be the actual scenario which you guys would be facing when you are handling the free zone entities. You have the total sale, it is split between different activities, and you need to understand that what would be my taxation. So here I need to split my activities. So I am, I mean, it's easy for me. I'm just having the example here, but some of the income is from manufacturing of the goods sold to the free zone entities. Sale value 200, profit 35. It would be a qualifying activity. Manufacturing of goods sold to non-free zone. It would again be the qualifying activity because it is among the list of the qualifying activities. Distribution of goods sold to the free zone person, again, it would be the qualifying activity. Technical advisory services. Now, this sort of services, we do not have them anywhere, either in qualifying activities or excluded activities. So these are the other activities for which we have to calculate the threshold. So I'm selling it to non-free zone. It is a non-qualifying activity. Then income generated from mainland branch. And we know that the branch income for a free zone would straight away be taxed, and I will not include it also in my de minimis calculation. Then income from commercial properties from non-free zone, it would also be non-qualifying, and I will not be including it because it would be straight away it would be taxed. Then income from the IP assets. IP assets are excluded activities. So I have to include it in my calculation of de minimis threshold. Now, the interesting area here is that we have to have a distinction with the amount of sales as well as the profit, because ultimately, if we would be able to meet all the conditions, we have to tax the profits separately for those activities which would not be covered in the 0% tax regime. So here, what I'll do first is that I have said that what will be included in my total de minimis calculation. For the total sale, I have just excluded my income, which will be straight away be taxed. So I have a total revenue of 304. This 304, I would be calculating 5% of it, which will be 15.2 million. And the benchmark is 15.2 or 5 million, whichever is, less. So here, it would be, of course, 5 million itself. So my non-qualifying revenue here is 4 million. I'm talking about sales now, okay? It's not about the profit here. So 4 million is within my threshold. So it means my qualifying income, my condition, I'm just assuming all other conditions are also fulfilled, which includes my substance and all other things. So here in this case, my qualifying income's profit, which is 35, 18, 5, 1, and 1, which if you see here, 35, 18, 5, 1, and 1. All this, which is 16 million, would be taxed at 0% because now it meets all that, the criteria, this profit, which is 20 plus 30, would be X at the standard rate, and it would be 2.7 million. So you can see, if I meet all the conditions, I have a huge tax saving. Now, if this similar scenario is for a company which is on the mainland, then I have to pay tax on this 60 million also, which in this case would be approximately 5.4 million itself. So it is a great saving that if I am fulfilling all these conditions. Let me see a few queries. Can you please why we have taken 50 million in de minimis manufacturing of goods sold to non-free zone activities? Okay, I'll explain you this. Because if my customer is outside the zone, which is here, then income from the qualifying activities would be considered as within like within the qualifying income, and the manufacturing activity is among the list of the qualifying activities. So in this case, if my customer even is outside the zone, I would still be generating the qualifying income. I hope it is clear. Okay, I've explained, Syed. In case if you have any other query, you let me know. Does 9% apply to offshore companies as well, or only free zone? No, it's only the free zones. Yes, but the revenue is not 50 million. Let me see. Revenue is not 50 million. Revenue. Where is revenue? This example. I didn't get the query, but if you're asking here, this 15 million, yes, it will be included in my, the calculation of my total sales for my threshold. Is this what you have asked? Otherwise, you can ask me again. It's not an issue. One line above this. Okay. Yeah, it is a typo error. I got it. It is a typo error. And in this case, it should be 76, and then all the calculation would accordingly be changed. But yes, exactly. You are right that it should be, 76 here. Agree. Okay, guys. Now, if you fulfill all the conditions and you are enjoying that 0%, keep in mind that there are certain kind of the benefits which you will not be able to avail if you are enjoying the 0% taxation, and it's very important. First, you won't get small business concession, which is, if my turnover is up to 3 million for the first 3 years, I would not pay any tax. Okay, it is a separate classification. But if I'm opting for this kind of 0%, I cannot avail the small business concession, and I still have to pay tax even if my sale is below 3 million. I cannot avail a relief where if there is a gain between, if I transfer some assets within a qualifying group. Now, a qualifying group is if my ownership is 75% or more, it is same. Any transaction of transfer of assets, if there is any gain, it would not be taxed. But if I am a qualifying free zone person, I cannot avail this concession also. Then for business, if I'm selling out the business, if I'm doing a restructuring, I am selling the ownership, normally it would not be taxed. But if I am opting for the qualifying free zone person, I would be taxed on this also. I cannot carry forward my tax losses. So again, very important. If you feel like that you're something, you're a company who would be incurring the losses, I would suggest that don't opt for this, because you will not be able to carry it forward. Then I cannot be included in a tax group. Okay, this is again very important area. So if you wish to form a text group and you want to include your free zone entity, then it's better that you should not opt for this 0% scheme. You should have audited accounts also, because to be a qualified free zone person, you have to have the audited statements also available with you. I have another question from Kadir. Small business concession will be for, yes, indeed, and there is no any condition of small business as long as turnover is less than. Exactly, you are absolutely right. It's only about the turnover. Second condition, which I've just explained here, is that you should not be a qualifying free zone person itself. Mustafa, please, you can also type the question if you wish. I would be able to answer you. Please, in case if you have any other query, please feel free to specify, else we are through with this. In a short while, I'll be sharing with you the QR code just for a small feedback, and after that, you would be also be getting the slides also. I have, yes, Mustafa, please, you can ask the question. Just join, Mustafa. Yeah, I think we are about to end the session. You will be getting the slides as well as the recording. So please feel free to fill a small form. And just to give you an idea, we at Lynchpin Consulting also give the corporate X services. So please feel free to bug us in case you need any services from us. If there is any other query, please ask me, else I'll be sharing the the QR code for the feedback, and then afterwards you will be getting the slides in your email. So okay, I have few questions. If I'm providing, Mr. Patel is asking if I am providing services outside the UAE, which is logistic management services, is considered a qualifying income. Okay, just see here, you need to understand that focus here. Where is your client? Is your client outside the country? Yes, which means it would not be a free zone entity. Then if your activity are from the qualifying activity list, which in this case it would be, and yes, it would be a qualifying income. I hope it is clear. When do we have to opt for 0% taxation? Okay, excellent question. When you are filing for the tax and say return itself, okay, so you don't have to apply to FTA for this. You just have to prepare the tax filing just accordingly, and then it's up to you how you will be justifying that. I hope it is clear. I have answered around 20 questions. Please do let me know in case if there is anything else. Okay, I have one more. Vasif is saying, kindly share whatever services you're providing with respect to training in terms of corporate tax. Okay, indeed, we have detailed training also coming up, which is spread over around 8 to 10 sessions, where we cover entirely the detailed information about the corporate tax. It's called the boot camp. We have short trainings. We have trainings only for your companies, specific to your activities also, and we also give the corporate tax assessment services. Thank you, Mr. Kadir, for the feedback. Excellent. I have another query from Mr. Adam. If you are a qualified free zone person, you have to register with FTA and make a tax return. Yes, you indeed have to. It's not exemption. It is just a different kind of a treatment. So you still have to do the CT in filing, but you don't have to get approval of being a QFZP. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Thank you very much, Azam. Okay, I'm just on screen sharing it. Please scan it. Once you will give your feedback, we will get your names and you will be getting a recording, and also you will be getting the slides after that. And once you are through with this feedback, please stay with me, because I'll be sharing with you a free portal, which is available online, where you can search anything inside inside the corporate tax, and also the VAT, and you will also get a free online training with that. So just once you are through with this, just give me yes in the in the chat box, and after that I'll be sharing it on the screen at how you can access the free free test portal where you can search everything. The link is not working. Just let me scan also. I'll see, because it was working earlier. Okay. It's working with me. Please just have a look, scan, and then confirm if it is taking you to the feedback on Google. Please just confirm. Thank you very much, Aslan. Link is not working currently. Okay. QR code is not working. Okay. Just give me a second. Just give me a second, please. Let me bring it back. It worked for you. It worked for you. Okay, please. I think it's working. So please, if you guys can try and scanning it again, because it's working with few people. Okay, feedback given. Thank you very much. Just stay with me. After that, I'll be sharing you an excellent online help portal where you can search online about all the access, plus you will also get a complete free training also. I'll just explain you your new course. Just give me a yes in the chat box after you have filled the session, the feedback. Okay, I'm getting it. Please give me a yes. It took me to a review and I gave yes. That's it, Sayed. Okay, so you'll be getting it. How can I connect from a company training? Nazim, after the session, somebody from the team will be in touch with you and will give you all the information for that. Please give me a yes for the feedback so I can share an excellent sort of a resource with you guys, which you will love, because it is completely free and you can search anything from the text, UE text, or be it VAT or anything else. Okay, yes, given. Okay, excellent. So I'm assuming that you guys have given it. Thank you very much. Okay, let me share the screen. Thanks, Osama. Appreciate it. Let me share a resource with you, which I'm sure you love. I'm sharing the screen again. Just give me a second. Okay. Just let me know as and when you guys would be able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, just give me a yes if you are able to see my screen. Okay, I got it. Excellent. So you just have to type in text box, TAXBOX.A. It is a portal which is developed by us. It contains complete text laws, the corporate tax, VAT, as well as the federal procedure, and excellent help also for the consultants. We have quite a few consultants who are also using it here, and you can search. Just give you an example. I want to search access zone, free zone. So I select here the corporate X search, and instantly it gives me all the tax articles which are applicable on the on the zones. It's an excellent guide which you would not be able to find otherwise. You have to go through all the PDFs and see which one are applicable or not. For example, I want to search small business kind of thing. Okay, so search it up and you just get it here. All the decisions which the FT has issued, everything is available here, and it is completely free, by the way, to search it online. It is completely free. We are not charging anything, but I'll definitely explain you some of the services here. If you go to the pricing section, we have completely free membership. You can enroll online, enjoy complete search, get an entirely complete free text can say training, available online. You will get the updates also. It is completely free. And we have another service which is a premium one. In case if you guys are interested or you want to have it for your company, we have quite a few consultants who are opting for this, where with a small fee you can ask unlimited queries. We help you to be up and running for the corporate X itself, and you will get an online help kind of a portal where you can submit the queries. You will get an instant kind of support ticket number, and within the same day you will also be getting the answer. So in case if somebody is interested in this service, you can opt for it. Otherwise it's completely free, and at times you may be having just single query. Okay, so we have an on demand help also, where you just have to pay a small fee probably and just ask any query, upload the files online, and within same day you get a comprehensive comprehensive answer with all the excerpts of the applicable article. So we have quite a few companies who have already opted for this, and we also have the tax consultants who are also taking the services. So I hope that it would be helpful. If you guys wish to have it, it would be a great thing. I have a question. Mr. Patel is saying that I have a project management license and I am providing logistic management services. Is it okay to show the qualifying income? Now, the whole thing is that it is altogether a different story if your actual activity is something else and the activity for which you are having license is something else. I would advise you to operate within those activities, or else you should be changing the activities. It would be, it would be the better option, I believe. Okay, guys, any other questions? Anything? This portal is always online. You can always search it up, and we'll also be having some other trainings on this also. You also get the help article. So please feel free to use it, share it with anybody who is interested. Else we are done for the day. If there is any other question, please